Hello, thanks for stopping by the channel. This is Stealth ATF for the NES, released by Activision in 1989. I was walking through a retro game store this past weekend and I saw this one on the shelf and I was like, what the hell's this? I've never seen it before. So I picked it up for a few bucks. I didn't know this thing existed in the first place, so hey, it's all brand new to me. So I've been playing this one for the last few days, and you pilot a stealth fighter in this one. Basically, you survive this one by destroying enemy ships. There's a little more to it than that, but this is the NES, so there's not a ton more to do. Now you have two buttons to deal with in this one, and these buttons will change a little bit based on what you're doing. First, we start with the Takeoff Phase. First, we get this shot of you looking through the cockpit. Nothing really happens here. You have to press and hold the A button. That will put your thrusters on. And then it goes into the Takeoff Phase, and this is like a side view of your ship on the runway. Basically, as this goes along, you press the A button and hold it to accelerate. Then you need to pull back on the flight stick to tip your nose up to rise. This is not an intuitive launch. To me, it seems like you should push left on the thumbstick to tip upwards. But no, you need to press down on the gamepad to move upwards. Press down, you're going to pull the nose of your fighter up, and you're going to be off in the air to dogfighting. Now, that's great and all, but I instantly want to know how I can mess this particular thing up here. So let's try this again. And now if you just press the A button to accelerate, with no movement of the flight stick, it takes off for you. Okay, I think that's kind of a bummer. So you don't really need to do anything to get in the air besides pressing the A button. You just naturally take off. That feels like a wasted opportunity to me, but okay. I guess that's still not enough for me. There has to be a way to mess this one up. So I try this one again, and as soon as I hit the runway, I let go of the controller entirely. I don't press A, I don't mess with the stick, nothing. I just let it go to see what happens. Turns out you just keep going in this one. Apparently this is one crazy long runway. At this point I'm still not satisfied, so okay, there has to be a way for me to mess this one up. It seems to me that if you accelerate enough to take off the runway, which means you give it a good throttle, you pull down to take off, and you start to go up into the air, and then if you go right back down, there we go. That's what we need. No worries though, according to the crash report, you bailed out at the last minute and it's okay. Just take another plane and try again. I'm sure that's how they handle this in real life, right? I mean, I think this is the B-21 stealth bomber, and they cost only, I don't know, $639 million apparently. So here's another ship to play with on the runway. Have fun. You'll do this a couple times, no problem. Now, when you're actually flying around this game, it's all about dogfighting, and the A button is going to fire your cannons, and the B button is going to fire missiles, when you have them, of course. In this game, you have unlimited cannon ammunition, but you have limited missiles. You can also press the stealth button once per level to go into stealth mode. This makes it so they can't see you for a period of time, apparently. Honestly, the stealth thing is kind of a waste in this one. I mean, I don't know, it's the one thing I tend to forget when I'm playing this game. Overall, the dogfighting in this one, I guess it's okay. I mean, we're talking rudimentary NES graphics, so you just get a lot of repeat textures and such. It took me a while to clear my first screen, of course, but once you get used to it and you do manage to finish a level, you get to land. It's just a reversal of the first screen, but it's way easier to crash the second time around. Turns out I'm pretty good at crashing my plane on landing. It's something I've been working on. Turns out I'm great at crashing when I land in this one. I think I've only successfully landed once. And that's terrible, because after you've finished killing everything on the level, and then you start to land, when you crash, you have to start the entire level over, which really stinks. Now, when you're in a dogfight here, you can sometimes get a quick missile kill if you first enter a level and they're coming straight at you. The first pass they make, it seems to be a little easier for you to line up your missiles. You only want to try to fire your missiles when you get a missile lock. These little dots appear around your target. If you don't have a missile lock, you're wasting a missile. Also, the enemy's going to shoot missiles at you too, so you got to be aware of this. I was able to get a few quick kills on the second level when I got to it, and then they started shooting missiles at me, and that wiped me out. I find myself doing tons of rolls in this one, so many that it's almost visually confusing. The best I seem to be able to do is I align an enemy behind me using my radar. When it's right behind me, I pull back on the stick and I loop all the way around and I try to shoot at them from that direction. It does seem to let me get a few kills, so it's been working for me. Now what this game also has, which I really like, it's got a killer soundtrack. Well, music track. It's one track. It's bumping. I mean, I love it. It's perfect NES soundtrack for an action sort of game. I love it. If you pause and you unpause the game using the select button, you're going to turn the music off, and you'll just get sound effects. Pause and unpause again, and you'll just get the music. You can't get both music and sound effects in this one. It's something that actually... It's like that with a bunch of different other Nintendo games. But here it's just one or the other. Personally, I don't think the sound effects are that great. I fall on the side of the music. Now, the color palette in this game, it actually reminds me of another NES game, one of my favorite NES games, Rocket Ranger. I did a review on that one before. I'll link to it in the description. It's not a common game for people to actually love, but I guess everyone has their preferences. I don't know, I just feel like the colors of this game really remind me of that game. I think it's in the yellows. Or, well, they're kind of orangey. Anyway, there's a lot more varied gameplay when it comes to Rocket Ranger, that's for sure, but this one, it's about dogfighting, and then more dogfighting. I am pleased to say in this one, what they did do was they changed the environments. I think that's fantastic, although I'm not very good at getting to other levels. I can get to level 2 because I landed successfully a few times, but man, it's really tough for me for some reason. But I do know, after doing some research here, there are a bunch of different backgrounds. You don't actually have to stare at the same graphics the whole time. You'll get some night levels, which is really great. There's an Arctic level, which is pretty awesome too. It's just nice to have that sort of variety. I suppose the next question is, how does the plane handle? Well, there aren't a ton of smooth animations with this one. I mean, it's NES here, so when you're racing around, you kind of have to get used to how the game is running. We're not talking 60 frames a second. It's a jumpy sort of animation here. But you do get used to it, or at least I did. You end up doing a lot of barrel rolls for this one. You can track down the fighters, even with the jumpy animations as it is. You just have to adjust to it. I think it's actually pretty fun for a game that I didn't know ever existed. I mean, for a couple of bucks, this was a good investment for me. It's not bad. And it's got that great soundtrack. Always a benefit to have a good soundtrack. Well, that's all I have for Stealth ATF for the NES. If you want, feel free to like and subscribe and all that stuff. And thanks for stopping by to take a look at this one, and I hope to catch you on another video.